This how God works. Play my position, what is given with no concerns. Go, 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 go. Set it off. Top of the morning, I'm gonna set it off.
What up, y'all? It's Andrew Defy, a.k.a. the Gorilla Poet Lawyer, a.k.a. the Hoodie God, a.k.a. Spitting Quarantino, a.k.a. I wear my sunglasses at all times because my eyes are as sensitive as my heart is, y'all. And we are here for another amazing episode of The Great Joy Hunt. You know, we're here at ZFG HQ with the live studio audience, all sitting 35 feet away from each other with their astronaut helmets on. And we got an incredible show for you today. He's done sleeping on me, y'all. He is done sleeping on me. I got Paul Willis live in the green room right now. So we're going to bring him in just a second. Before we do, though, you know what time it is, y'all. This is where I ask you, What's your number?
This how God works. Play my position, what is given with no concerns. Go. Set it off. Top of the morning, I'm gonna set it off.
So, like we always do at this time, on a scale of 1 to 10, on a scale of A to Z, on a scale of purple to yellow, on a scale of chimpanzee to caterpillar, how are you feeling today? What is your number? Take stock of your own mental health. How you doing? How you feeling? What's your number? You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling pretty light today. I got what's promises to be one of the best episodes that we've ever done of The Great Joy Hunt. So I'm gonna say I'm starting at an 11 today. You know what I mean? I'm 3 sips into the joy juice this morning, and I'm already at an 11. So we gonna have some fun right about now. So remember, you ain't gotta chime in the comments. Although Laura says she's at a solid 8 right now. That's a good starting point. I feel like that's like pre-coffee, juice, tea, water, whatever you do in the morning, whatever your beverage is in the morning. That's like a good pre-beverage level. So you ain't got to share your number here. This is for you. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to know you. It doesn't do me any good to know your number. You know what I mean? You got to know your number, and then you take stock of it at some later point in the day. We do this because you got to know where you're trying to get to. You know what I mean? I was having a lot of deep thoughts last night around joy. I went like really deep in the vortex of joy and just what it means. And I confused myself. So it works out perfectly that Paul Willis is here because that's who I go to when I confuse myself in my own creative circles. So that's what we're doing. What up, Jill? What's up, Minnie? Tippy says she's at like a 6 today, tired. That's all good. We're gonna work to get you to at least. I'm gonna say at least an 8, but I'm trying for like a 9 or a 10 today. You know what I'm saying? And just knowing, that you're just trying to get to that 7. You know what I mean? You ain't got to get to a 10. If you get to a 7, you're making progress. So that's how we do it over here at the Great Joy Hunt. So that's what's your number, y'all. It don't take too long. Just take stock of yourself, where you're at. You know what I mean? And now we're going to get into it with the Great Joy Hint.
This how God works. Play my position, what is given with no concerns. Go. Set it off. Top of the morning, I'm going to set it off.
Y'all, he is my right-hand man in this ZFG thing. He is my anger translator. He is the one that we send to the meetings because I got ADHD and I cannot possibly sit through all of y'all's fucking meetings that should have been email. You know what I'm saying? He does a lot. He's an artist. He just dropped a hell of an album. Incredible body of work. He got like 63 albums. I think this is like number 63. Yeah, man, y'all give it up for the incredible, the illustrious Paul Willis.
Hey,
what it do, fam?
Man,
how you feeling?
That was an amazing intro.
Don't call me Captain Intro for nothing.
You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling all right. I know that you asked everybody what their number was. I think for me, because a grown man tried to fight me yesterday, and people will realize why that's like really weird for that to happen. When we kind of get through, some of the stuff we want to talk about today. So I think today I'm starting at like 5. And we're just
we got a low joy Paul Willis joining us.
Yeah, but you know what? It's because I think some of the things I've recognized about myself, particularly from when I was younger, was I had to learn all these like different techniques and understand that like my body's gonna have this like physiological reaction to trauma and just like these like heightened responses, and my mind has to tell my body something different. You know what I mean? So it took a lot to get me to that point when I was younger to like be able to say like, yeah, my body's like screaming, because some people will like fight, flight, freeze. You know what I mean? I'm definitely.
So you're saying Your mind was telling you no. But your body.
Basically, in not like a weird, creepy R. Kelly way, but yeah. Um, but I'm happy that my mind is still kind of sharp in those situations to just analyze like what is happening and what the appropriate response should be in those moments, and hopefully that individual finds it within himself to figure out all of those things and what the root kind of cause is of those
There's
emotions, because that'll help him out later.
There's a GIF that comes to mind, and it is a beautiful black woman saying, growth. Simply that, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to you for growing. We're gonna try and get your joy up today.
This is huge for me.
Yo, are you hearing this right now, Paul? Are you here? What is going on with this computer? What is going?
Masked. It's time for No Strings Attached with Zusi T. Fitzgerald.
What?
Yeah. What are the stats of people wearing masks, Andrew? Let them have it.
This is a whole different show, but I'm so glad you called in.
No, sorry, I'm a little late for last night. It's Tuesday, isn't it? Oh, dang it. I've been up all night watching my Robinhood account. I put in a lot of money to GME. Those GameStop stocks. They're gonna pay off for sure.
No, they will.
They will. Oh yeah. I'm rolling in all the dollars. I already bought like a yacht. Got it on layaway. It's all good. Good in the hood.
Oh, man.
How you doing over there, Paul?
I'm doing all right. It's so great to see you, Zeus. I hope that you're keeping it righteous and ratchet. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, 24/7. You know how it is.
Yo, so for those of you who don't know, this is Zeus T. Fitzgerald. The T stands for V, and he was he's the founder of ZFG. He's the founder of the Sacramento Poetry Salon. Anything that anyone gives me credit for, he is the founder of, and he was damn near my co-host on Masked Up, and then he took off to New Zealand and was like, scrape y'all because y'all don't know how to wear your mask and you're too stupid out here. He said there was an epidemic called stupidity, and he was leaving for New Zealand. So
I had to. You got to get your head back together sometimes. Turns out really all I did was just thirst follow a bunch of people on TikTok. So I just decided to come back home because I could do that here. I mean, let's be real.
Wait, you're here?
Right.
Well, yeah.
You're upstairs?
I'm upstairs. Duh. I snuck in through the window like always.
When did you get home? How long have you been here?
About like 2 a.m, stumbled in. It was a long flight. New Zealand is like at least more than 5 miles away.
Yeah, at least.
Truth.
Say, wait a minute. So we've got Paul Willis here. Paul, you put out a new album.
Yeah. It's called Wonderland. I'm really excited about it.
Oh, it's called. I got to be honest. I haven't heard any of it. All I've been hearing is TikTok songs, and that's only like 30-second clips at a time.
I don't blame you.
So what made you make it? Like, what made you make it? Is it because you're running for office and you need a little PR?
No, I'm not running for office anytime soon.
Language.
Honestly, I'm considering retiring from rap. It's one of those times in my life where I think I've made a body of work that I'm really happy with, that tells my kind of full and complete story. And there are some other things I want to focus on right now. Like, I got engaged this past year. Zeus, that's huge. That brings me a lot of joy. There's jumping into consulting work this past year, and that's something that I've been doing kind of more full time, and that also brings me a lot of joy. But it also means that while I'm kind of building my life and working to build a business, you know, I might have to kind of take a step back from being super heavy into hip hop. I know it may not seem like that right now on social media, but that'll eventually be the plan where I kind of take some time and kind of build up some of these other areas of my life.
I like when people get engaged and you don't have to ask which one is the better half.
Everybody knows that's her.
Wait a minute. But I looked up online and I saw a website and it said Paul Willis is hip hop.bandcamp.com. If you're leaving hip hop, then what is hip hop now? Who is hip hop now?
Yeah, I mean,
Zeus,
you know,
Zeus T. Fitzgerald is hip hop.
Yeah, no, yeah. If you want to be, absolutely.
Oh, good,
You can be
good.
hip-hop.
I'll be putting out my album next week.
I can't wait to hear it.
Sitting on the back of the bus, something. People passing, asking what?
Word.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I you know, I'm really excited about the album. There's a movie that's gonna come along with it, and you know, a workshop around hip hop and fine arts. You know, I'm kicking off a hip hop as fine arts campaign, so people get a chance to kind of learn a little bit more about why I've made some of the decisions that I'm making, and you know, through that process. And I really want to give a virtual experience so people get to know me better and know all these different projects a little bit better.
Yeah, that's dope.
Zeus,
that's me. You brought me on. Hi.
are you still on TikTok?
I am. I haven't actually made any new ones because of. Look, I'm gonna be honest. There's like a lot of thirst following going on. It's been thirst follow palooza. Like it was like a festival, like a one-man festival. I was the act the whole weekend.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yo, Zeus, I've never been on TikTok. But you know, I see all these dances. Are you doing any of these TikTok challenges?
Oh yeah. There's that one that goes like dit dit do dit 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 do. Yeah.
Yeah, you killed that one.
Yeah. That's gonna go
Nailed
viral.
it. Yeah, no, and I'm making my own dance. I'm calling it the Paul Willis.
Word. Okay.
Yeah, it's not finished yet, but like someday I'll bust it out.
Yo, I can't wait to see it. Let me know.
Yeah, it's a lot of.
Okay.
You gotta do the moans with it too. It's necessary.
Okay.
And if you've ever been to the club with Paul Willis, you know why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's you know, I'm right here with it. That 2-step.
Yeah. Just like you shoulder roll and you put your hands up. That's pretty much the extent of my dancing ability.
That's about it. I'm Jamaican, you know, so growing up in a dance hall, we just backs against the wall and we were grooving.
It's really more of a groove hall than a dance hall if you really think about it.
Yeah. What's your number now, Paul? Huh?
We going up. We going up. We're from a 5 to
You
a
son
7.
of a bitch! What's your number? What's your joy number? Yeah.
Oh,
too into it. I apologize.
I'm gonna go refill my juice. Zeus, why don't you ask Paul a couple more questions about Wonderland?
Okay.
The feel for this.
I'll ask about this album I haven't listened to fully yet. This is gonna be good. It's gonna be a good interview.
Oh, good.
All right, so Paul,
What's up, Zeus?
what track was your favorite? Actually, like if I could ask honestly.
Oh man, yeah, no, that's a great question to ask. I have this song on there. It's called Codman Square. It's named after a neighborhood where my auntie back home, she owns a Jamaican restaurant, and it's a song. I've written a bunch of songs kind of about my family or about social issues, but I haven't ever really spoken directly to the people in my family, and that's what that song is and what it does. It speaks directly to like my brothers, my sisters, my mom, my aunties, my nephews and nieces, and just people I care a lot about. So yeah, I think that song is my favorite off the album. Every song is its own kind of vibe, which is really cool. But I think that song is my favorite because it's one of the more personal ones on the album.
Oh, well, so do you feel like you've done everything in hip hop, and that's why you're leaving?
No, I know that I haven't done everything, but there were a lot of goals that I wanted to set kind of early, and it was around just trying to figure out if I could do this, if I can make quality music, if I could actually sell and deeply connect with people. Um, that was really kind of the intention early was to make music that was meaningful not just to me, but for my students and other people that I interact with. And then I realized that as I got further and further along, the music got better and better, and my goals kind of got bigger and bigger. I've done work with the ballet. My music has been in like documentaries. There's been a whole bunch of stuff that's happened kind of throughout the year or throughout the years. But now I'm at a point where, in order for me to kind of take it to the next level musically, it'd have to be a real significant investment of time and money, right? Like I'm an independent artist. There's no major label that's backing me. There's no one bankrolling the Paul Willis experience. So, unless I like find something like that and like go on tour and travel and meet all these new people and get my music out there, it's just going to be a harder road as an independent artist. But I've always kind of worked to take this non-traditional route with hip hop because it's not about being famous for me. I don't care really about like reaching like 1 million followers on social media or being the hippest or the coolest. I want to be the most impactful. I want to be the most meaningful. I feel like I've been able to dive really deep into the Sacramento community, and I want to find ways to do that with more communities. But hip hop has always been a tool to help educate and inspire young people, and to connect, communities and different people together through the music that they love. So
that's a great story, Paul. You know when that would have been great? Yesterday when I was talking about that as the theme for the Great Joy Hunt, but you were sleeping on me.
Yeah. I was late.
Hey,
I don't.
You
I
gotta
don't even
get
know why.
sleep. Like, yeah, it's super necessary. I haven't been sleeping a lot ever since this GameStop stock crash, but I'm glad you are.
You should try at some point. You know what I mean? Just like
It's really
turn
hard.
off
I
all
can't
the
really close my
lights,
eyes, so
go to
it
bed a
gets
little bit
complicated.
early. And then you'll surprise yourself. You might go to bed at 10 p.m. and wake up at like 12 the next day. You just don't know how this work.
It's like a time warp. Like we're all time travelers, just 8 hours at a time. I like it.
Yeah.
So
go for it, Zeus.
Because I really want to talk about this album. I'm actually really excited. Why did you choose Wonderland of all things?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Alice in Wonderland. I'm assuming that's like the tie over.
Yeah, that's one of them for sure.
Is it because there was an evil queen?
And if so, where do I meet her?
There's a subway system back home. It's MBTA, and I used to take buses and trains throughout the entire city. At the end of the Blue Line, kind of beyond airport and with Logan Airport and some of those other stations in East Boston, the last stop is called Wonderland. And I thought, okay, that's like the final destination. That's a place where maybe not a lot of people have had a chance to go before. And I thought about what it was like for me growing up and how as a kid, I just didn't see myself or life outside of my neighborhood and outside of my city. I never dreamed that I would be in California living the life that I'm living now. So
Praise the movie stars.
yeah, I just didn't understand what what those options were, what possibilities even looked like. And I thought that there was a lot of power in sharing that story of kind of being on the other side of having taken this really long journey and then being able to share back, what it's been like to go through that journey and that process. And I think about that movie, Alice in Wonderland, and there's definitely a lot of kind of tie-ins there, where Alice, at the end of that movie, she dreamed and imagined that entire world. She was a young kid who had the freedom to dream and to imagine. And that's a freedom that I think some people will take for granted. Um, but really, that concept, it's layered in that sense where, for some people that might represent the end of the line. I think it represents kind of that freedom to dream and to imagine, that creativity, and living that life that you may not have thought was possible before. I'd love to put those stories into the music to share it back with the next generation, and it may not hit them when they're 13, 14, and 15 years old, but the album will be able to live with them. So in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, they'll be able to see that a lot of the same lessons that I learned will resonate with them then. So,
do you still get as much joy out of making music as you did when you started? Is my first question there. So you go ahead and answer that one, and then I'll hit you with the second half of this.
Easy answer to that is yes. Yes, I do. I love it. I love the process. I love collaborating with people and learning about them and their process.
Hold on. You're skipping ahead because my next question was like, what's the most joyful part of the process for you? Like, I personally, I've grown in my old age to not like being in the studio. Like, I love writing and creating is my favorite thing. Right. But like, once it's released and I got to promote it, like I'm over it. You know what I mean? So for me, it would definitely be the creation process. Is there a part of the process that brings you more joy than others?
I think it's the part where, I write all the time. And when I was younger, I'd write on like napkins and like notebooks and what I could. These days, I find myself writing a lot on my phone, and then like emailing myself lyrics so that I have it saved somewhere. But I think what I enjoy now is kind of getting in the studio and seeing it through to completion, and kind of building with my engineers and producers to like talk about arrangements and different sections of songs where you might take out or add in new instruments and stuff like that. Because I think that in that process, there's been a lot of growth and a lot of learning for me. But I think that that's where, the magic kind of happens. You can write the greatest verse, but if you don't have the best music to, fit that verse, then you might have to find a different route. You might have this amazing beat and get in the studio and realize, oh, you know what? The verse that I wrote needs to be edited. I need to really deliver this well so that it impacts people in the way that I intend. So I think that process of kind of working on it and editing and all of that stuff is the part that I enjoy the most.
So it works out perfectly that you're here today. I was giving you a hard time earlier because you slept on me yesterday, and I just like saying, I'm gonna get a hoodie that says Paul Willis is sleeping on me or slept on me. I gotta figure out the verbiage, but it's coming.
Yeah, I mean, he's engaged. Like that might give the wrong impression.
So first off, if anybody watching on the stream has any questions for Paul Willis about the new Wonderland album, feel free to shoot those into the comments, and then we will shoot them directly at his face from there. Now, I just you and I have been through this many times in the course of ZFG. One of the real life-changing moments for me is when we find out that the open mic is canceled at Soul Collective. We need a venue. In that moment, I literally I'll own up to it. I'm a fucking Cancer and a poet, bro. I cry. You know what I'm saying? And I cried my fucking eyes out at that moment. And Paul and Alex were there, and both of them literally, I remember them saying, look, you can feel however you want to, but you aren't allowed to quit, right? Because at that moment I was like, I think I'm out. I think I'm out of the city. I think I'm done here. Like, and that turned into the first Guerrilla Flash Mob, which was literally, there's a moment in that video where you see me smile standing on top of a chair that is the most joyful smile that I've ever smiled in my entire life. And it was that idea of like, what was so joyful about that? It was, I aligned with my purpose. Like, I feel like that's a big part of my purpose, is to bring art and especially hip hop and spoken word into non-traditional places, right? So I find my joy in lining up to that. So I'm working on this book called The Great Joy Hunt. And in January, we started doing this live stream every day. We did 23 episodes. So I'm really close to like having at least the outline of the book done, spending some real time in February and March writing it. And as I'm focused on it last night, I'm like, yo, what do I even know what I'm talking about? Like, what is joy? How do I define joy? Is joy, what's the difference between joy and happiness? Like, a lot of what I ask on this show has to do with gratitude, and gratitude is how you cultivate joy. But is that joy itself? Where's the difference, right? So I went in deep on this whole, like, bro, maybe you've been going about this all wrong. Maybe I'm asking the wrong questions. So I wanted to talk to you. And this is a conversation, y'all. Normally, me and Paul Willis would just have this conversation in person or on the phone. But we just gonna have it for all of half the internet to see right now. So how do you define joy? Like, what is joy? Like, first and foremost, I think we have to define it. And I was like, I think we all feel it. I think we all know the feeling of joy. But how do we define this, especially in comparison to happiness?
Yeah.
Like Pops always used to say, happiness comes from outside, joy comes from inside. And I like that.
That's I think one of the things that I was gonna share, because I agree with that sentiment. I think happiness is like a mood, and it's something that people, your environment has a lot to do with your mood, so if you're playing music, you got some food with you and you feel comfortable, you're like, I'm happy, like I'm good right now, I'm relaxed, I'm cool. But that mood can change with like a bad phone call or something, crazy like that. But joy, I think it's something that is like a deeper kind of like in your body kind of feeling and experience, and it's less determinant on your environment, right? Because you could be having a really, really terrible day, but there are some moments in that day where you can find that joy. But that's a thing that it's an intentional practice almost. So,
and that's like the next step in that is like, I feel like if you cultivate joy, then unhappiness is less unhappy.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, where like if you have joy inside of you, then all of these negative things can happen that would affect your happiness, but it'll affect it less. Right? It's not some super thing where it doesn't affect it at all. Right? Like where I'm joyful all the time and it doesn't matter. Like if you walk up and slap me in the face for no reason, I'm not going to be happy about it no matter how joyful I am. Right?
mm-hmm.
And then the next like line of thinking is joy conditional? where, you know, my knee-jerk reaction is that joy is unconditional and that happiness is conditional. That's what we're saying. But if joy can be stolen, then joy is conditional.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, joy for me, I always think about with that search. I go back to the Tony Hawk Pro Skater franchise, the video game franchise, specifically Tony Hawk Underground.
As many
it's
of us
like,
do.
yeah, no, it's a normal thing. And you go back to like Tony Hawk Underground with your character and Eric Sparrow, and how like they just started off as like two buds together, and then one of them pulled this awesome trick, but then Eric turned out to be a total piece of garbage, and he like stole the trick, and then he got famous. Well, you're like, wait a minute, what the hell happened? But then you go back to your roots, you know, you go back and you start up soul skating, you invent that entire like soul skating thing, and then people start to notice you, and then Eric Sparrow's like, oh, I'm all jealous because this guy's actually happy and I just have a lot of money. What I'm trying to say is don't invest in GameStop. just don't. You just don't.
You missed the window already, guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the stock just fell, and you might be tempted to buy it, but just don't.
It'll come back. That company's not going to cave.
Yeah, no. There's a lot of people on Reddit who are holding out. It actually might be a good investment. Who knows?
This is not the show to get your stock from. You know?
Yeah, no, this is the Joy Hunt. This is the Joy Hunt, not the misery index.
But Andrew, man, to your point, you know, I was thinking that joy is also like finding joy, like that's a practice. You know, I think that there are a lot of things to be joyful about, but you have to be intentional in your practice of seeking that, you know. And I think you're right that like attachment to gratitude is part of the things that bring people joy. But I think it's hard for people to recognize that when they're not being intentional about it. Like it's hard to be intentional about happiness and like being happy, because sometimes that feels like fake positivity, and that's not healthy really for anybody. But you can't really fake joy. And you know, and while some people try to fake gratitude, like you know when it's real and you know when it's not, but what other people decide to do, that actually doesn't affect how you see the world and the things that you're that you want to show gratitude towards. So then it doesn't affect your joy in the same way. So there's something in there. I don't know if I philosophize it well enough, but I hope that was helpful.
What do y'all think watching the live stream? Is joy conditional? Is joy conditional? And what is joy? We could even back it up farther. Sharice said, joy is part of the essence of our soul and true nature. And I do believe that. I do believe that there is, you know, this like well-being is our nature, and that we kind of pull ourselves off of that path. We let ourselves get pulled off that path. But I do believe, you know, if you watch little kids, like that's where it is for me. Like you see the babies, and the babies only know joy. They only know the joy hunt. You know what I mean? So, you know, what do y'all think? Is joy conditional? Is joy unconditional? What's the difference between joy and happiness? All questions that I'm wrestling with right now as I'm working on this book. The last question that I kind of rolled into last night was, what is the source of your joy? Like the source of your happiness can be those conditions, but what is the source of joy? Right. And I feel like there's something in there around alignment with purpose. You know what I mean? Alignment with like your own fulfillment, you know, fulfilling that purpose. So, you know, what do you think is the source? It can be either personally or just like in a universal sense. What is the source of gratitude? Cheryl says, I think an attitude of gratitude reminds us to be grateful for what we have instead of focusing on the lack thereof. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, it was Brene Brown that was talking about, she did all this studying on joy. And she says she would never speak about joy without mentioning gratitude, because one cultivates the other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what y'all think?
I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to like externalized expectation, with like when you're expecting things from other people that aren't you, and it's so chaotic. There's no way to actually like pin it down, and all you can really do is just sit here and drink your water, and take your deep breaths and focus on what you need to do. And what you need to do is stop putting so much on other people who you have no say over.
That was incredibly deep, Zeus.
Thanks. I learned it from Tony Hawk Underground. That soul skating is really like it's gotten into my bones.
That's great. No, it's funny. So one of my neighbors just came through like slapping some like rap music. I don't know if it was like Pop Smoke or somebody, but just like, it was just going. And I couldn't help but smile. And I think about this question about like where my joy comes from. I think you're right. There isn't like an alignment thing, right? But I think that I find a lot of joy when I see other people kind of align with their true selves, and they just feel like they can be themselves freely and authentically, and they're not worried about kind of the pressures or thoughts and ideas of other people.
Not like that Eric Sparrow guy.
No, yeah. And I think he learns a valuable lesson in the end. Yep. Anyway, keep going. Don't let me get in the way.
No, I mean, yeah. I think that's what it is for me, and I think that's because I also find joy in how I've decided to live my life in a way that's mission aligned and within my purpose. I think that when people, who try to fit other folks' expectations and they move in a way that's just not in line with their assignment, then they're always unhappy. But I think that happiness, again, it's like that's an environmental thing, right? Where, if you change some of those conditions, if you're able to change some of those conditions, not everybody's able to, but then you'll find, more of that happiness. But I think that when you are actively practicing seeking out joy, then no matter what your conditions are, you can find these, moments in time where, you are more joyful.
When I think about the first one for me every day, like it's the same thing. I woke up today. Like that's joy for me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where my joy comes from. And you could put me in all kinds of wild conditions. I've woken up in wild places in my life. You know what I mean? Like I've woken up in hospital beds, not knowing if I would wake up the next day. And that day when I woke up, it was a joyful experience for me. You know what I'm saying? So like there's something in that, like that it does come from inside, where happiness comes from outside. They both may live inside of you at some point, you know what I mean? But where they originate from is different, right? So that's like what I'm really trying to like put my finger on with this book, and really being able to explain, just to start off, like what the difference between this fleeting happiness and true joy is. And I think there's a reason that the poet I always talk about being in alignment with your assignment. And I just heard you saying that a second ago, Paul. And I think that's where a lot of it comes. I think a lot of the people who I know who struggle to find joy are people whose lives are, maybe they got pushed into a profession for money, right? Or for clout, or for, a parental expectation, like Zeus was talking about, where like someone else's expectation, and they're not doing what they're doing because it aligns with their highest purpose, right? They don't get up in the morning and go, oh, I get to go do this thing, right? Like I'm the current poet laureate of the city. I literally get to wake up every day and be like, I'm gonna write poems for the people. Like this is what my life has been since I was 13 years old, you know? So I think you're dead on that. It's rooted in that alignment.
Yeah, and I mean it's really easy to overcomplicate things. Like, yeah, for instance, people forget just how much joy you can get out of sitting with yourself. You don't need a podcast and a movie and a ton of music playing. You could just like sit with yourself for a second, take a deep breath, and observe the world. Like I watched a tree the other day for a full 15 minutes and just like watch the branches. And there was so much joy in that moment. It was like after 3 months of hard TikTok following, thirst following, and I finally just like sat back and I didn't do the dance. I didn't do any of that crap. I just like sat there for a second. It was really cool. I was really surprised.
Yeah, I had a similar moment last night while I'm pacing around thinking about all this. And then I started thinking about like, yo, am I overthinking this? That is what you do. And I just had this moment where I had to laugh with myself and not at myself. You know what I mean? But being able to like really laugh. And then I was like, man, like it was a good laugh. It was a good belly laugh. And I was like, yo, if I can still laugh with myself after 10, almost 11 months of being quarantined by myself, not really seeing nobody else, and I'm still good enough with me that we can crack jokes and belly laugh about it, like that's really where I want to be in life. You know what I mean? So I think there definitely is a lot to what you're saying right now, Zeus, about being able to be with yourself. I think a lot of us got a 101 lesson in that the last year. And it pushed some folks, it pushed all of us to the brink, one brink or the other. You know what I mean? I think you're absolutely right.
I think that and this just might be something that's interesting to explore. I don't know if it'll be helpful in terms of simplifying it, but I wonder if like joy and happiness like come from the same place in the brain. Like if there's like a chemical like response or reaction that is like similar or different based on like how they're experiencing those feelings. I don't know if that's like a thing or not. I just
I love my science. I'm gonna dig deep on that today. I think that's definitely like some good that's a good place to go to really like differentiate. There's got to be some kind of science, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dominic says he made it. People have been following Zeus's journey.
No, I think he's talking about Paul.
Wait, Dominic, are you talking about Zeus or are you talking about Paul? Because this is relevant to both of them.
Yeah,
it is.
Seriously.
Serotonin, yeah. Serotonin, dopamine, GABA, GABA,
Yeah, I know that some of that stuff has like different effects on the body. And I just wonder like how long it lasts or how it affects the body and what that means about joy. I love that question right there.
Do we have to have passion to have joy? Do we have to have passion to have joy? I think I'm going to trace this back to Zeus's watching the tree and sitting in that amazement where it wasn't like a passion because I think of passion as like a fiery thing, right? Like where I think of that moment where you're watching the tree and you're watching the wind in the trees and just feeling fulfilled is that's a calm river to me. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know that passion, but passion is very closely linked to purpose, right? Like those two are damn near synonyms. So I can see how you could draw the conclusion where like if you have like purpose, I think definitely leads to joy, and passion, when you find your purpose, you're passionate about it. So there's a little triangulation.
Well, I mean, and that gets into a deeper point of like, do you even have to have a purpose to be happy in the first place? Like, can you just be happy, being content, being just normal, everyday puppet, or do you have to have a hand shoved up your butt and someone talking for you in order to be happy?
Yeah. This is very valid.
That's a good question. I think that.
I mean, speaking of, oxytocin is released in orgasms and sneezes. You're welcome.
And hugs. Think about that.
And eye contact, especially in dogs.
Yeah.
When you stare your dogs in the eyes, it's like giving them a hug.
Hold on. I got this. Look into my eyes. We're having a sneeze-gasm right now. You and me.
And breastfeeding.
No, that I wouldn't have ever known that.
Go ahead,
Zeus. There's a lot. There's a lot that oxytocin does. I mean, I don't like to cross breastfeeding with sneezing and orgasms. I feel like that gets really awkward really fast. But yeah. It's the same chemical.
Fair.
Yep, way to handle that one. I see Paul Willis right now. We have succeeded.
Yeah, no, my joy level's going up, moving up from a 7 to an 8. Just see, and I think so. Learning brings me joy. Learning new pieces of information every day. I feel like it's part of how I better myself and how I treat other people. Is when I learn new things, different perspectives. It just helps kind of shape my the way I view the world. So we're moving up. We were in our feelings when we started this thing. Now we're in our heads. You know what I mean? Like this is pretty cool, man.
That's the whole point of the joy hunt. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what? I feel really good. I'm gonna buy some GME right now, some GameStop. I feel really good. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Get it. Find me some
200 shares.
Invest in PlayStation.
I want 200 shares, okay?
Of PlayStation.
No, just put it all in. I feel happy.
PlayStation's not going to go anywhere.
Okay. What? Sorry. I was just putting all my money into GameStop.
I was trying to save you, man.
What about like the last 3 months rent that you still owe? Did you put that money into GameStop?
Andrew, I'm sitting on a gold mine. You give me 2 months and I'll be the richest man in town. Daryl Steinberg will be paying me money just to be around. I don't know how being rich works.
If I give you 2 more months, then that will be 5 months without rent. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to – listen, we're trying to do joyful things. So I'm not going to –
Okay. Yeah.
Your lack of –
the great joy hunt, not the great my back rent hunt.
we'll do the back rent hunt later on today.
House meeting. I got you.
Word.
And we definitely going to talk about I feel like you've been thirst twisting your mustache the whole time when you were first following on TikTok. I think that was like a part of it.
Yeah, it's coming out a little bit.
You feel a little manly on one side, bro.
I can say the same for you, but hey, I was going to bring that up on camera.
Yo, and that's super real. A little bone that I have to pick with my audience, because y'all don't really love me. You know what I'm saying? Y'all let me come on here. Sometimes I'll be watching the playback and like my beard's wilding on one side and like tucked on the other side, and nobody was like, yo, fix your beard. You know what I'm saying? Why don't y'all love me?
Or maybe that's the ultimate love, Andrew. Maybe they love you regardless of the poof of your damn beard.
No,
and they're
bro.
like, yeah, he looks like complete garbage and trash, and he needs to take like at least 5 showers. But
listen, that's not what my sisters told me growing up. We love you, so we gonna tell you the truth.
I'm the friend. I'm the friend. Every woman in my life will tell you, I'm the homie that will tell them when they have lipstick on their teeth. You know what I mean? Like, I'm that guy. I will always be that guy for you, women, because I love you and I want to see you do well. I want to see you looking good. But y'all just gonna let me out here with a wild ass manny beard and not say nothing. I'm saying, tell me when I got
like the Neanderthal look.
You know what I mean? Jeez. All right. So we coming up on an hour. That was a quick hour, y'all. So before we get out of here, the last segment, what we like to call the meat and potatoes of this here show. Nay, the potatoes and asparagus, if you're vegan, of this show. Where's your joy at, y'all?
This how God works. Play my position, what is given with no concerns. Set it out. Top of the morning, I'm gonna set it out.
So whether you in the studio with us or whether you at home watching on the live stream, where is your joy coming from today? And I'll tell you, last night while I was sitting and kind of just like pacing around the house like I do, thinking all these thoughts, you know what I'm super joyful for, y'all? Words.
Yeah. Word.
Like the way that words evolve, the way that if you look at the new kids, as I'll call them, the way that they play with words, the way that they shape words, the way that they're really taking control of the language, right? There are terms that we didn't have when we were kids, such as non-binary or toxic masculinity or trauma bonding, like all of these things that are huge. And even just that ability to express and to continuously evolve our expression. Right. So I'm trying to go a little bit deeper into this joy dive and just this idea as I'm trying to do it, like being able to like utilize these words and these words. And then but I can make a new term here. Like I was just so hit and just so like, wow, that's so dope. It's so dope. Like words and what we can do with them. So that's where a lot of my joy is coming from today, as well as we got Zeus T. Fitzgerald home again.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't even care. I don't even care about the back rent. I'm waving the back rent. You know what I mean?
Hold on. Okay. I need put one more stock on the pile. GameStop. Like four more. Give me four. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Man, because it was not as joyous around this house. I'll tell you that while you were in New Zealand. This pug, she's adorable, but she don't do a whole lot. You know what I mean? Like she sunbathes, she eats, she sleeps. You know what I mean? So I definitely was missing my my roommate, my compatriot.
Well, I mean, she's always locked in her joy. Just sunbathing, eating, pooping. That's a good life. Super real. Like there's no better joy hunter than this little dog. Like, no, she's found it. My biggest point of joy, if I could just like interject and completely take over, like I always do, is definitely seeing Paul Willis's face and like his pre-show makeup bit where it's like 30 minutes of him just like making himself all beautiful for the camera. The man puts on a lot of concealer. A lot of concealer foundation, other makeup products as well.
Well, and what's wild is that he's had to learn to do it himself. You know what I'm saying? Like Paul used to have a whole makeup team anytime that he touched stage. There was like 4 or 5 professional folks just like powdering his nose, getting him all right. And now he does it solo on himself.
Well, I think that's why he's leaving hip hop actually, is because he didn't realize he could do it all himself. He learned all the lessons. So he's just going to be his own makeup person and all this stuff, you can just let it go.
Word.
That's the Wonderland, I think.
I'm just gonna let that be. I think where I'm finding my joy now or today, honestly, I'm having a lot of different types of conversations today. This is a great way to kind of kick it off. My next conversation is a pretty big one, actually, just about like one of the things that I'm doing this year. So hopefully we're able to kind of wrap up this contract and like sign on the dotted line and like, negotiate my value and all of that stuff. So I'm excited and really looking forward to that. And then I have, I'm
he's doing other people's makeup.
Yeah.
Big contract.
And then I'm doing a virtual workshop with some young folks in a juvenile hall out in Auburn and it's in partnership with the Auburn Hip Hop Congress. So I'm really looking forward to that conversation too. There's a bunch of that's happening today, but this one really kind of set the tone and shifted the energy for me. So I'm grateful, I'm appreciative, and full of joy right now.
That's it, man. That's it. Shout out to Rocky and Natalie out there in Auburn.
Yeah.
Love working with all their groups, and that juvenile hall group is a really, really special group as well. I got to go in there and talk to them a while back. It was really funny. Just real quick, I was doing this thing on poetry and hip hop and all of this, and like I get through with this whole presentation, and this kid was like, "I got a question. Can you rap for us though?" So I gave him like a little 3-line poem.
Yeah.
He gave me one of these. he gave me the bouncer. Nah, you ain't getting in here. Like, so then I had to bust like had to go full verse. You know what I mean? Had to give him a full 16. And at that point, they were rocking with me. But like, yo, they're a harsh audience in there. You know what I mean? Like, you better really bring the bars when you go to juvenile hall. You know what I'm saying?
It's facts. Look, and we started this new thing, part of our virtual programming. It's called the Hip Hop Journey. If you can imagine a mix of like David Letterman meets Jay-Z, you know what I mean? Where we're interviewing just different creatives, artists, entrepreneurs, people who are getting into politics, and others who have just taken these alternative pathways, because we recognize that for the young folks in there, when they're out, they're gonna have to kind of create their own lane and find their own path. So having these interviews is a way for them to kind of access that information in those conversations again. Rocky and Natalie, we're getting ready to post those conversations because we have a few recorded. But the kids, were excited about just interviewing the guests. The way we were running it before, because we couldn't record our guests like within the juvenile hall. Again, it's like, laws against recording children and that kind of stuff. You need their parents' permission. So they were basically, the kids were developing the questions that I would ask. And now in the next couple of weeks, we've got some guests who are willing to go in with us, so that the kids can ask them questions directly. So it's a little bit of like media training and some intro to journalism stuff. So it's pretty cool that's happening out there too. So yeah. But
Paul, you're always doing such cool stuff.
Thank you.
Like for the community, for other people, and just in general. Like seriously.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I really look forward to these couple hours every week.
Is Rocky number one? Rocky, are you still watching? Because I know you were watching earlier. Rocky be tuning into the Great Joy Hunt all the time. If you are watching, and maybe this is a Paul question, maybe there's a Paul and Rocky, and maybe Natalie got to be involved in the conversation too. Mm-hmm. Do any of these kids want to be puppets when they grow up?
Not that I've heard.
I'm just saying, like, Zeus would be great in the juvenile detention system.
Yeah, no, I tried to go in there one time, and not with like a group. I just tried to go in, and they didn't let me in. So I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, that's gonna be hard, man.
Yeah, I brought too many bars,
very
like
strict
real
schedule.
bars.
Mm-hmm.
You can't bring bars into the juvenile.
You can't unannounced with no group bring bars to a juvenile hall. It's
like bringing sand to a beach, quite literally.
Yeah.
So we got people chiming in. If you are watching the live stream, if you are tuned in, if you are one of the many multitudes, the half of the internet that is watching this show right now, tune in. Tell us where your joy is at. You know what I'm saying? Cheryl ringing in with my joy is looking at 2 of the 3 cats sleeping in the cat tree. Simple animals. I'm telling you, always something to go to. Minnie says, my little and this show today with Paul, Zeus, and you, Andrew. Cheryl says it's always a reminder to be grateful for simple things. Yeah, that's it. Start general. And that's the thing that we talk about too. Like going, like when I'm at a 9 on my joy scale, I can find really specific things to be joyful for. You know what I'm saying? But when I'm at a at a 1, I need to go real general. Like I need like sunshine. I woke up today, running water. You know what I'm saying? Like the basic, really general. But when I'm at a 10, like I can find joy in a challenge, in an obstacle, and be like, oh, this is an opportunity for learning, and I'm super joyful for this. Like, but don't catch me at a 1 with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Sharice jumps in, says, I had a bundle of joy delivered to me a few hours ago. She's 5 months old, and her name is Nova. Yo, can we just talk about the name Nova, though? Like, that's such a fly name for a kid.
It is.
Yes.
Rocky
It
said,
reminds me of Supernova. Also, hi, if he's watching.
Shout out, Supernova. Rocky says, haha, I'll let them know today it's an option. So, Zeus, we may be able to get you in there. You know what I'm saying? Get you into the juvenile detention facilities.
Oh, wow.
Tom Torres, one of my favorite joy hunters in all of Sacramento, is live on the feed right now. Y'all see that? Can you discern that?
Oh, my God, he's on fire.
That's
Jesus,
Tom Torres.
That's basically how you say air horn. And
okay. I thought that was like a distress call or something.
Tom said my joy is color today. Yo, like that, it's so dope because I just got done. I don't know if you were watching, Tom, when I was talking about words being my joy today, but like color being your joy today. Like that's I love these, like, they're not things that we typically go to. You know what I mean? Another little tip, little pro tip for the joy hunters out there. I have a note in my phone that just says gratitude. And when I think about things throughout the day that I'm like, yo, I'm hella thankful for this. I'm super thankful for this. I just write them down. And then sometimes when I'm having a harder time and when I'm having those lower number days, I can pull that note out and just kind of scroll it and be like, oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I do have this. Right. You know, I was actually thinking about Paul Willis a lot last night as far as like the people that I'm joyful that I have in my life and that I'm grateful for. Because when you think about, you know, if you know me, I'm a little wild. I have been referred to as a loose cannon more than once and less than 600 times in my life. And Paul is someone who always manages to keep, and I think it's for a lot of us. I don't think it's just me as far as, you know, ZFG. I think Paul's like the voice of reason for the entire crew. You know what I mean? When shit gets a little wild and it's like, yo, no, I'm just going to say this, man. I'm just going to put this out there, bro. Fuck it. Like Paul's always the one who's like, hold on, take a deep breath. Think about this. Think about all of the possible consequences. Think of how this impacts everyone, including the youth and the young people that you work with and that are watching you. You know what I mean? Like, so just super, super thankful for my brother Paul, and just the opportunities. You know, Paul, you know, like Zeus said, Paul always doing some cool stuff. I got to go in and have a conversation with a high school that kicked me out earlier this year, and talk to them about racial discrimination on campus. That was because of Paul. You know what I mean? So Paul stays like having these impactful conversations. So yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing. Many, many beautiful things come from my brother Paul. So I owe him at least 3 sandwiches, which is the currency that we work on between the two of us.
It's definitely food.
It's always been that. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's like, hey, yo, can I get a verse? Yo, can I get a beat? Yo, can I get it? Like, yo, how many sandwiches? You know what I'm saying? Like, and the rate goes up. You know what I'm saying? After this Wonderland album, like, I'm gonna have to take Paul to a nice deli. You know what I'm saying? This ain't logos no more. You know what I'm saying? This ain't, even if it got a Baskin Robbins attached to it, you can't fuck around with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need that sandwich with the 24 karat gold foil somewhere on it. You know what I'm saying? Like that Wonderland album is fire. If y'all, if y'all are looking for it, pick it up now. Listen, I'm gonna tell you this right now. This is how being an artist actually works. Right? When Paul puts this on streaming sites, he's going to make 0.0666 cents per stream. Now, if you go buy it from Paul Willis's hiphop.bandcamp.com right now, Paul Willis makes the majority of that money. You know what I mean? He actually puts a few dollars in his pocket, not half a cent. So, you know what I mean? If you got love for the crew, for Paul, for what he's been doing, make sure you go stop by the Bandcamp and pick it up there. Pick the album up there before it goes streaming. You can stream it afterwards. It's mad convenient to like stream on Apple. I get it. You know what I mean? But like when you see it,
I get that too. You know, I hear that all the time. But, you know, the reason I stagger the release like that is exactly what you're talking about. You know, I want people to get it from me directly because what's really important to me is having that relationship with people who want to support me. So when you buy the album, I'll shoot you an email. I'll give you my phone number. We can talk and chat, you know, whether it's about the music or about other things that are happening in your life or in the community that you want to get involved in. I'm here for all of it. There's no middleman here. It's me and you directly.
Well, for now, let this album blow up. There will be a middleman. Zeus will be taking over as Paul's manager. At which case you will get all of the same things that Paul just listed, except you will get them from Zeus instead.
And trust me, Paul, as a manager, if my ability to manage you is anything like my stock purchasing, get ready. You're going straight to the moon, buddy.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Anybody got any other questions? Any comments?
I've got a question actually for Paul. After you stop, you know, you don't do rap anymore. Are you changing the website to Paul Willis Was Hip Hop?
You know, I think I might go Paul Willis Is D'Angelo and start making music with Mark Knox and just like switch it completely. Just like
I like it.
Whole other genre.
You're gonna redo the Naked Untitled video.
Yeah.
That's all I was thinking about too.
Yeah.
The people can't wait.
Look, Mark Knox told me I can't retire because we haven't made music yet together. So you know, hopefully we get a chance to work on something this year, and we'll see. But again, like, you know, Wonderland, it's out. People have an opportunity to support me through the process. And then really I want to, you know, create kind of without the pressure of putting out under a specific timeline or anything like that. I'm developing and growing, and this is a real kind of pivot point in my life. So maybe this isn't, you know, goodbye forever from the music piece. But it's definitely like I'll see you later, and I'll probably come back to this.
And if you're not getting the album, like, you need to. You need to.
No,
like, seriously.
Yeah, no, you should absolutely get it.
I haven't heard the full thing, but it's beautiful so far. Sincerely.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I hate every other Paul Willis album, but I like this one. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
I mean, you say that every time he drops an album. To be fair, like,
they grow.
Promoting Rough Draft from 2015.
They grow on me. You know what I mean? These albums all grow on me. Like,
wait a minute. When do we get a Paul Willis Greatest Hits album?
Yo!
When do I get 4 different versions?
Hold please.
Broadway.
Do y'all see who's in the chat right now?
I know her.
What up, Jeanette? What up, J-Rose?
J-Rose!
My favorite non-puppet.
What up? Appreciate you supporting.
We're so here for you being here for this. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, everybody tune into that link. I am Paul Willis. No, Paul Willis is hip hop. I am Paul Willis is my Bandcamp, actually. So you can go to I am Paul Willis and get my album, or you can go to paulwillisishiphop.bandcamp.com and pick up his album. Check out that Wonderland, an incredible production. Man, there's some really Kendrick-y moments on that album. Just really love the composition, the way y'all put that all together. Zeus, it's fucking great to have you back.
Yeah, seriously.
We'll catch up offline. We got a fence that got knocked down by the wind the other day, so we may have to like put our rain boots on and get the fence back attached today. So you can back
about that, it wasn't really the wind. I I just kind of stumbled on my way coming back in. I was climbing over the fence, and sorry about that. I know.
Again, this is the Great Joy Hunt, so let me not do my deep sigh here. Man, it has been an absolute pleasure. We're in an hour and 15 minutes. This is gonna go down in the annals of history as one of the best episodes ever to happen as far as the Great Joy Hunt. And I thank y'all for kind of chopping that up with me and helping me figure out, this idea of what joy is. So y'all, if you tuning in and you want to jump in my DMs today, tell me about how you define joy. Is joy conditional? And what is the source of your joy? Those 3 questions I'm really trying to answer. I'm going to spend today really contemplating, pacing around, and, talking to Zeus about this in depth. So, anything else y'all want to leave the people with before we get out of here?
No, if you don't get the album, hit me directly. You know what I'm saying? I know that it's a tough time for people. So I have ways that people can support the album and the music, even if they don't have the money to pay for it. So while I would love that financial support, I understand that everybody may not have that amount of money to put towards music. I want people to have it. So there are some other ways that you can support me by connecting me with some other opportunities. So we can discuss that in a DM at Paul Willis's Hip Hop on Instagram, Facebook. Let's talk about it and let's get the music out there.
And you can get a face tat that says "I am Paul Willis," and you get all of Paul Willis's entire catalog free.
I hear you could buy the whole discography.
Like a QR code on your face.
I love this. All right, Zeus, you got anything you want to leave the people with?
Hold on, I'm canceling all my stocks so I can buy a face tattoo. Okay, yeah, just sell it all. So I don't care if it's down to $50. It doesn't matter. Okay.
So cheap plug here for the other fam. Y'all, if you are looking for a face tat in this here city, make sure you go see Norma Stay.
Hey.
I'm trying to think of what the actual Instagram is, but it starts with Norm a Stay. Y'all like Namaste, but Norma Stay. That's our that's the official
Norma Stay 88, right?
Is it? I don't know.
So.
I don't know. I don't memorize people's Instagram handles. I still have 5 phone numbers memorized off the top of my head, though, in case I ever get arrested. So that space is taken. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, make sure you go see Norm. Norm is the official ZFG tattoo artist. Put ink on all of us that have ink. Norm has put ink on at some point. Paul Willis is still waiting for his face tattoo, but I think he's gonna get the Cheshire Cat right under here for this Wonderland album. You know what I mean? After it goes.
Yep, it's just gonna sit right on top of my beard right here. It'll just sit right there.
Perfect. All right, Zeus, you got anything before we go? Are you done?
No. I've got one more thing to say. Paul Willis's hiphop.bandcamp.com. Buy the full discography. He's paying me every time I say the website name. So if I could just say one more thing, Paul Willis is hiphop.bandcamp.com.
Beautiful. I appreciate y'all, brothers, for being out here. And that's going to wrap up the Great Joy Hunt today, y'all. My name is Andrew Defy for Paul Willis and Zeus T. Fitzgerald. The T stands for the.
Yeah.
We love you, and you can't do shit about it.
This how God works. Play my position, what is given with no concerns. Set it out. Top of the morning, I'm gonna set it out.